So the treasury broke and they say that reset and jamming. A sort of foreign countries, yes, we start migrating. We lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more, could we see happy times again? For the will to recover in my people, I have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of us decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, I tell you one little thing that I want we always remember. What we could make it if we try. Just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. From the time Trinity analyzed just what was the problem. Yes, we start making very positive moves to solve them. We fire the old settlement, it just we had walking. And it's a new troop we went and we bring in. And if the goods we require them new managers not supplying, when election time come back wrong, it's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I would guarantee that they would never ever put party before country. And we country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want we all sing together. When the treasury was full and happy times, some was enjoying. They said move back and laugh until poor people was living. But how the treasury broke and the country come back to square one. Poor people remain on the same old ghetto in John. But look at the economy return today on some footing. It's the same for people 10 days and more that they're taking. And without social unrest, poor people paying the price. Because they know for the country not get so much to sacrifice. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want you always remember, we could make it if we try. Just a little harder now. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. Anytime that you hear that your country facing a crisis, as loyal citizens, it's our duty to stay and assist. That's how we know to ourselves there could never become a day when our debts, though we country, we can't repay. No want to go could go, I have no objection. But while outside, I want you to have some consideration that your country of birth is in its first day in history, and we must do what we can, regardless where we may be. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want we all sing together. What? We want to say again a beautiful good night to all you wonderful people. If you come here to hear all Black Stallion songs, you know you can't hear that in one night. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna sort of take out some of the most outstanding ones and some of them that we sort of keep doing and doing and we know that you would love. So tonight is a very special night. This one for you. So the treasury broke and they say that reset and jamming. A sort of foreign countries, yes, we start migrating. We lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more, could we see happy times again? For the will to recover in my people, I have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of us decide we're not going to run, because now is the time for showing patriotism. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, I tell you one little thing that I want we always remember. What we could make it if we just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. From the time Trinity analyzed, that's what was the problem. Yes, we start making very positive moves to solve them. We fire the old settlement, it just we can't walk in. And it's a new troop we went and we bring in. Goods will require them new managers not supplying. When election time come back wrong, it's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I could guarantee that they would never ever put party before country. And we country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want we all sing together. When the treasury was full and happy times, some was enjoying. They said move back and laugh until poor people was living. But how the treasury broke and the country come back to square one. Poor people remain on the same old ghetto in John. But look at the economy return today on some footing. It's the same for people 10 days and more that they're taking. And without social unrest, poor people paying the price. Because they know for the country nothing so much to sacrifice. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, one little thing that I want you always remember, we could make it if we try. Just a little harder now. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter. Anytime that you hear that your country facing a crisis, a loyal citizen, it's our duty to stay and assist. That's how we know to ourselves there could never become a day when our debts, though we country, we can repay. Don't want to go, could go, I have no objection. But while outside, I want you to have some consideration that your country of birth is in its first day in history, and we must do what we can, regardless where we may be. Why our country facing its darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in Real name, Leroy Calise. Put your hands together and welcome the black Stalinism. But we must keep going. I feel the pain. Yes, we keep holding strength, but we must keep fighting. Regardless of how it comes, we just can't surrender. We gotta keep working towards a better future. We will never be always down and be fighting to stay off the ground. You must remember, all day would come. While we appreciate the little life got to give, we must think positive and think more positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind the gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is here. The journey may be long, and you keep falling down, but you must keep standing. As though we commit a crime, and we keep stopping time, but we must keep fighting. Remember they say that nothing lasts forever. One day is for the slave, one day for the master. So always keep your courage up. Don't allow confidence to drop. One day we'll be right here on top. While we appreciate the little life got to give, regardless what's the hurt, we must think positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind the gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright, for the bright side is where we go ahead, love you.
Yes, and a good evening to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique once again. It is time for Talking Points. We know, yeah, it sounds kind of strange with it still having sunshine outside. Well, to a little extent, yeah, a little bit of sunshine outside still. And you're hearing Talking Points on a Sunday, but especially due to the problems we had on Friday, we thought it necessary to double check and make sure everything is working okay for the week. Yeah, and everything seems to be working okay. So far, so good. Everything seems to be working as it should. Yeah, and we say a special good evening to all of you joining us via the various mediums. Today has been an interesting day. We have some stuff to talk about in a little while, because today has been a very today has been a very interesting day in the politics of Grenada. Yeah, very, very interesting day. And as we know, tomorrow, the National Democratic Congress, them alone, the rest of we ain't celebrating that, yeah? Yeah, that's like having a 9 nights and them kind of thing, right? Yeah, but they will be celebrating 3 years in office. And we're going to take your calls. Let me open the phone line feature here one time. Yeah, we're going to be taking your calls, and you can call us and give us your view on the 3 years of the NDC in office. Yeah, tell us what you think about the 3 years that the National Democratic, and we'll be continuing that line tomorrow night as well. But you can give us some view some of your views in relation to how the NDC administration has performed for the last 3 years or not performed for the last 3 years. Some people might say they performed, some might say they, why are so to that side? Yeah, let me come a little more so, man. Yeah, right, yeah. Some may say they performed, some may say they have not performed. Let's hear your views in relation to the entire thing. Let's hear what you think. And let me see who is on with us. Folks, remember to hit the like and share button. A lot of folks did not expect a Sunday program. Yeah, a lot of folks did not. Mark Felix, good night to you. Well, good evening, actually. Rosalind Jones, Bernadette Joseph, Moko Joseph, I see you there. Anne-Marie Grant, Norma Felix, Desiree Joseph, Dalton, Sean Leroy, Matthew, Marianne James. I see Joyce, Gavin Thomas, Art, Willie, I am, Christine Otley, Lola Williams, good night to you. Bernadette Joseph, Cynthia Collins, I saw accustomed to good night. Cynthia Bartholomew, Rick English, Alban, good night. Deborah Laborde, Brown Sugar, I see you there. Well, yes, Brown Sugar says the weekly press conference lasted 1 week and they wonder why. All of us wondering what happened with the weekly press conference. They came and they said that they would be doing a weekly press conference. We don't send and call them. They come. They say that they're doing a weekly press conference. So we're looking out for weekly press conference. Mama, we still waiting. We're still waiting on this so-called weekly press conference. Because up to this point in time, it seems as though the weekly press conferences are really weekly. Yeah, as in W-E-A-K-L-Y, because the weekly press conferences have disappeared. Yeah? So we waited to hear what's going on with the weekly press conferences. But as we said, the phone lines are open. Well, the phone line is open. And surprise, surprise, by the end of this week, I will have the landline back in operation. I have put everything in place for it now. I'm not going to say tomorrow, but because somebody has to do some work for me tomorrow. Once that is completed, we will be taking the landline calls, the direct calls that people call on the landline here. We'll be taking those calls and that sort of thing. All right, so 1473-440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. And since I was going through there, and Lord, before I get cussed. Yeah, so Cynthia Bartholomew, Rick English, Alban. Right, Sandra Pascal, Clive Raymond, Cicely Celestine, Andra Burke, Kathleen Ledlow, good night to you. Sherma Jeremiah. Shermoy. All right. Michelle Alexander, Faithlyn Halley Douglas, Maria Marcel, Gillian Noel. Right, nice, yeah. So I see everyone coming in one by one, two by two. Yeah, I see all your coming in, man. That is important. Let me see who is over on the Facebook, if anybody's on the Facebook, because I did not send out that message that are live on Facebook, you know. Yeah, let me see. Let me see who is on the Facebook. I didn't even sign into that one yet, but what kind of thing is that? That is madness. Yeah, we must check who's on the Facebook. All right, nice. I see the Facebook numbers going up nicely. So let me see who's there. Nurse Wendy Ann McGuire, I say you go on to a certain activity, you know. Martin Charles, Roy Lewis, Winnie Simon, Antonito Peters, Junior George, Sherms Houston, Cynthia Collins, Martin Charles, Wallan Aquat, Sherry Lambert, Emson Roy Jr., Cynthia B. I see all of you have joined in and clocked in. So we say a special good evening to each and every one of you. And folks, last night, the new National Party had the exquisite affair. Yeah, they had the exquisite affair. Let me see what the exquisite affair they look like, man. Yeah, let me see if we could get some pictures there. Yeah, I should be able to find some pictures of the exquisite affair. Yeah, man. Let me let people see what the exquisite affair was looking like, man. Yeah, let me just make sure here. Nice. And let me see. Let me get rid of that. Nice. I have to get rid of this thing here. Nice. So let me bring it up there for you now. Yes, the exquisite affair of the new National Party that took place. Yes, last evening, yeah, and I could tell, they plays the nice. All right, yeah. They plays the nice man. Honorable Emlyn Pear, the political leader, and indeed, I think it's the Deputy General Secretary. Yes, I think Skeeter is the Deputy General Secretary. Yeah, and hey, Nimrod Olivier, yesterday morning, you was in Grand Mall playing football. You reach up there. Nimrod Olivier, good evening to you, bro. Yesterday, the man in Grand Mall playing football with his son, you know. So you see there, caretaker for South St. George, Mr. Diali Jr., Hey, Peggy, I see you. All right, yes, and my good friend, I ain't calling out your name, eh? I ain't calling out your name. You ain't give me permission to call out your name on my program. I call it out, I just call it out all the time. You ain't give me permission to call it out tonight. Mrs. O, nice. Yes, indeed. The lovely ladies and gentlemen of the new National Party. And of course, the boss himself, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Doc, when you're coming back, make sure you bring down a suit like that for me. I go send my measurements to you. Yeah, I will send my measurements. Make sure when you're coming back down, yeah, you hand it. I know you're going to hand it your boy, you know. Yes, indeed. Senator the Honorable Nolan Cox. Yes, indeed. And the various members of the new national supporters of the new national party came out in their numbers last night. I can even see a picture of my good friend Kathy Albert. They say she was working so hard that I ain't even get an opportunity to see a picture of my good friend Kathy Albert. So I was looking for one. I think I glimpsed her in one or two where she was kind of passing in the back. But we ain't get used. Yes, pretty people and NP have, man. But what does do them? Yes, indeed. Yes, ladies of the new national party. Hey, Nurse Maguire. Yes, indeed. All right, folks. Yeah, just some photos. Dr. Dubai, go tell me how you reached it. Yes, the ladies of the new national party, the gentlemen. Hey, Mr. Antoine, how are you, sir? All right. Do you see all? And let me just give a special congratulations to the team that put the activity together. When they said an exquisite affair, they meant it. And everything from the decor to the food to everything. Yeah, from all indications, excellent, 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 excellent. Yeah? So, just going through the roll of pictures that I have that came in from the activity. You must go, you must go and take picture with everybody. Eh? Yes, indeed. Oops, yeah, that is the wrong folder now. Nice. Yes, folks. So the exquisite affair took place yesterday. And again, yeah, I'm waiting on your calls. You know, somebody had to call me. Yeah, because we had to check to make sure that the phone line part working proper. So somebody has to give me a call. Yeah, somebody has to give me a call. And you see that? I came and I sat down and I didn't bring my water with me again. So let me just put on something, pull a slide, and grab the water one time. Let me see one here.
Right about here, we're going to turn this program into a little space that I like to call changes. Because we see that nothing in the life.
Yes, indeed. And hello, good night. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
All right. I don't know why I hear you kind of fuzzy, man. Hello? I hear you kind of fuzzy, and I think that is on your end, though. I don't feel like it's from my end. Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you're in a bad service area, but you go right ahead. It's difficult. It's difficult for me to hear what you're saying, and if it's difficult for me to hear what you're saying, I'm pretty sure the listeners cannot hear you. Are you in a bad service area, or are you using a device? You're speaking directly into your phone, or you're using a headphones?
No, where are they?
The signal is bad in the area that you are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You'll have to call us back because we can't really hear what you're saying. Yeah, I wish we could, but we cannot hear what you're saying there, man. And before we get into I was actually planning only to do 1 hour, but I think we're going into 2 hours. So I'm starting to take some calls now. So when I start to play clips, nobody ain't gonna be able to call. So I'm taking some calls now, and I go take some calls after I play some clips because we have some clips to discuss. Yes, we have some clips to discuss, so we have to play some things there. We have some discussion to discuss. Nice? Yeah, in fact, Come on, when I see the magic number I want to see on YouTube, let me see what YouTube reached to. Yeah, YouTube ain't reached the magic number looking for yet. When YouTube get to a magic number looking for, we're going to start to play some of the clips there. Yeah, we're going to play some of them. I'll tell all the friends, Talking Points is on. They don't expect it to be on a Sunday. But you see, with Studio 3 now, sometimes I could do it in the middle of the day. I could do it on a Sunday. I could do it on a Saturday. It's up to me, eh? The only problem does be the Friday night. That does be a problem, yeah? But accordingly, I could do it on some of these times. No, nice. Yeah, that ain't mean we get in every Sunday we get in a program, eh? No, and again, we will get a program on a Sunday. That ain't mean we get in a program every Sunday. All right? Nice, beautiful. And I know that the St. Andrew Northwest group, they had their breakfast and luncheon sale yesterday. I haven't gotten the reports from that yet. I assume that I'll be getting that by tomorrow for tomorrow night's program. And then we also know there was another activity. What was it? Outside of the Exquisite Affair today, the Honorable Alvin Dabrio, in fact, all now should still be in Grand Roy and those surrounding areas and so I know he's supposed to be out there today. All right, and let's go. Hey, my partner, man. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, good evening.
Tito!
That's the guy.
How you doing, brother?
Well, brother, I'm doing very fine, man. How you find it here in my network? My network, because I find it in you loud and clear.
We hearing you clear, man. We hearing you like them jab band passing down.
Thank God. What's about you, man? How you doing, man?
I'm great. What's taking place though? Are they having the jab up on your end? I believe last week they had somewhere up on that side. I know they had Hot Wednesday and it had a set a jab in that.
Yeah.
Especially since the following day was a holiday. How is it going on your end?
Well, things well, everybody, they feel well done now this season because they say as long as you launch something, you see well, you give the people the authority because you launch the carnival mass. So, people out and all about playing the little mass and trying to although the thing kind of disturbing the place, kind of hard, people instead of people sit on home, majority of them tell themselves, I'll just go there and jump just try to jump out some stress, jump out some kind of emotion because you know how the ground not everybody who go to go able to buy a drink like before because before all young persons when the mountain or the fortnight they used to be getting like a 700 like a 500 whatsoever to put in the pocket. So right now the youth right now they cannot afford to like bong zong or to like rush somebody else's drink like to fall because right now is a different kind of settings on the street. Because remember, if you live in a country and you don't have money on the street, because remember the street is for poor people. Listen to me. Even if them with them age of people, I'm not like crap, but I'm just trying to make a. Even them age of people have money, like certain people. Everybody at the time and they turn they might never to go Grenville, they might never to go out and take But remember the young people, and remember I want each and every one as long as you don't have money running in a street on the street like how we supposed to. Remember, things go real bad for the youth and for the poor people. So that is where money.
Let me just say a good night to my good friend Chris London. I see him, see them on the line there. Good night to you, Chris London. Yeah, that's the soul there that does be getting everybody in line on the YouTube and thing, man. And it's good when I do the program this hour because Chris London is in London, it means that they get the program a little earlier than they usually get it. Usually the people in England have to listen to the program when they get up because it's late for them. Yeah, that's 1, 2 in the morning, that kind of time. So Tito, how is St. Andrew on a whole going? I keep hearing some stories coming back, man. I'm hearing of businesses up there, businessmen crying and are talking about people who have businesses that have been there since you know yourself. and these people are crying out about the state of the Grenville economy, the rural economy. They say the money just not flowing.
Yeah, well, that is true. As I tell you, Mr. Sheldon, as I speak a while ago, as I tell you, as long as you don't have money on the street, you understand, there is no way we, like a shopkeeper and like a shop owner, which is supermarket, and like a vendors, who able to make the money because remember the money like inside because like who have money now they sit down on it is more like the age of people in my thing. I could see we already had the money, so the money not spending, and the government don't doing nothing to say well like do put up some kind of program or some way some because look NMP in NMP time that same place in Pavilion in Simonong we used to get paid to go and learn our skills. Remember, because like we had to eat something in the morning time to go to to go learn this because remember if you go in a classroom and your belly empty like big train and big truck running in your belly while you sit down in the classroom you don't study in the teacher you don't study in the blackboard you studying about your belly you hear you or your belly grumbling that belly hungry so
Mm-hmm.
there is no you could learn any you understand. So that is what we are. That is what we asking. You understand? We asking the government. Whosoever in charge. You understand? And like in my constituency, well, the only sports I could see is Miss Kate Lewis because I don't see, and I want to say hats off going out to her. I see the other nice, session. I feel it was last night when I've been watching
Yeah,
a small clip, and like yeah, that was really 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 cool. You understand? And before I go again, and next thing I want to tell the politician in Grenada, remember we remember anybody could vote, age able to vote. You understand? Like you have understanding because there is a certain amount of age for you to vote. You understand? So we're asking the who the fake the who them fake politician. Please remember we are youths growing up. You understand? We have a lot of youth growing up, youth who cannot vote. You understand? So, right, when I sit down and I look at them, Mr. Sheldon, just give me a little minute. All right. I see, and I don't know if like I could call Sinead, that is we ex where she did for NDC now, Miss she work with Miss Gloria. You understand? And the same Peter again. I look at this thing, what these people and them teaching the youth of Grenada because there is certain time because right now just now the youth go get confused. These people I'm lying, these people I'm no good, these people I'm because all right, you run one party, you there all the platform in Grenada for NNP, you there all social media, all TV, the youngest shall watching you and media. You understand? NNP was so good, NNP was so vibrant, NNP do this for training, NNP do that, and no. You hearing these people, the young set of children, them hearing the same set of people them on a next platform. You understand? Crying down, which come on now, what we teaching the youth. Yeah? So it's lies and so what we teaching the youth. So asking the politician them in Grenada, man, come on now, we remember we time we going down, you understand? And we have why is some going on, some coming up? Why is some going on, some coming up? And let we teach the children and them now, man, and stop being fake and stop being in politics for opportunity for yourself. You in a country, they put you in politics, you understand? You like a minister, remember it's for the people and the country. You understand? If something don't work for you today, I mean to say, well, you go just leave that and just run somewhere and crying down. The same person you was yesterday, you understand? Praising God and praising God, and today you're on the next platform. So Mr. Sheldon, I said thanks very, very much for having me.
yes,
All right, and
indeed, my brother.
I want to wish you all the best. And remember, I just want to teach a little time. I never pay for the promotion. But remember every
Go
Wednesday
through, man.
at Tito. Remember every Wednesday at Tito promotion. Remember Mother's Day Gandhi. We had a real nice thing. We had a road race, I had swimming race. I had over $580 given out for old mother, young mother. I had hairstyle given out, which they could go in salon and get a hair done. They had who get fingernail, who get toenail, and like every Sunday I just try to have a small little kind of session. So I want to say thanks to each and everyone who don't know me, and everybody's like, hey, it's so popular. Everybody know everybody's like, but it's like how you do things. So Sasha, I want to say thanks and all the best, and Also, all the best to Miss MNP and the whole NMP supporters and the whole NMP workers and the crew. And remember, I just be doing my groundwork. So I hope everybody let me come together and let me start talk. And to be honest, I don't know if that is my feeling. That is my feeling. All I sit down and watch it now, I see NMP coming back in power. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheldon. All the best.
All right, brother. Thank you so very much. Yes, folks, we were speaking there with Tito. Yeah, Tito's been trying to call, but he didn't get a message that he had to call he didn't get a message of which line he have to call. And I see I passed my magic number and I nearly passed my second magic number to start playing clips. Yeah, and yeah, let me pull this down and let me start to play this because it had some very interesting discussions take place today. So let me listen to this one first. Yeah, let me listen to this one first.
Kellon, you must have known that coming to the nation and using these two unmeasurable terms, trust and confidence, was going to affect my employability thereafter, that it was going to affect my family thereafter, that it was going to affect practically everything that I've built over the years as somebody who worked in the public service, worked in the private sector, and also led a ministry, spiritual ministry, for the greater part of 9 years, that the person's character, integrity, values will be called into question. And in retrospect, sometimes you sit down and you look back and you wonder, was the objective political calculus? Was it internal party maneuvering? What was it? Because a minister was relieved of his duties way before I was. He was afforded the opportunity of a sit-down, of a dialogue, a conversation. The Prime Minister, along with the Minister, came to the media and they spoke about his exit from cabinet and as to why he's exiting cabinet at this particular point in time, which is to further his studies. Why wasn't I afforded that opportunity? Even if you felt that you came into information that one of your cabinet ministers is divulging data from the cabinet of Grenada or from government, and that the quality of that data has the ability to compromise the governance and leadership structure of the organization, where is the conversation? Where was the dialogue to say, Jonathan, Lucky, whatever you want to say, this is the information I've come into. I'm giving you an opportunity to defend or not to defend the information. And I'll close by saying this. Even in a court of law, the defendant, based on the advice of his lawyer, is given an opportunity to speak in his own defense. And I'm saying to myself, it came across as an execution-style exit at the particular point in time, because I felt as somebody who is astute and intelligent, understand the terrain of law, etc., that you had 101 ways, Dr. Bob. 101 ways Sir could have dealt with that particular situation. Revoked my ministerial appointment and left me as a senator, and you could have placed me anywhere in the public sector to continue my service to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique with the senatorial title and still working in the Senate of Grenada. You could have placed me on a board or two so that I do not lose the financial package that I was receiving at the time. You know that I have a mortgage. You know that I have vehicular payments at the end of the month and other financial facilities with financial organizations. And I sat for the past 11 months trying to decipher in my mind, because my wife was 5.5, 6 months pregnant at the time of my firing, and she had to be hospitalized because her pressure went to the roof. And I almost lost both of them. But the spiritual attack did not kill us. It did not wipe us out. We maintained our faith in God and our resilience as we stood upon His word, trying to understand what strange thing has come upon us. I am still trying to decipher in my mind up to today. It's water under the bridge. And just to be clear, listen to me, I love those guys, and I made that quite clear when I was exiting the cabinet in July of 2024, because it was indeed a pleasure to serve with all of them. And there's no remorse, there's no bitterness, there's no hatred. This is just me reliving and retelling the story from a better place after almost a year. Yeah, I did wish them all the best in their governance, both party and government, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I wish them all the best. I love them. It was a pleasure serving and working with them, but I've moved on because we have parted ways. But when you reflect, you try to ascertain as to why something like this would happen that felt so inhumane and that felt so diabolic. Because to me, if you had, any shred of humanity, for human dignity, you would try to see to the best of your ability, even as the leader, how you can cushion the financial effects of this person who was receiving a salary at this level and is now going home to a wife who's a teacher and have to be able to use her salary with 2 children and a baby on the way. So and that's why I said to you initially that for a couple of months, I had to find myself in a space where I needed to pull away from the crowd, not be battling and bantering on social media. That's not my MO. It's not my modus operandi, because I had a family to think about. And to add insult to injury and to go out on social media and to say things and to spew vile and to be bitter about it, that was just not going to do good for the Grenadian public. 1, it was not going to do good for our politics. 2, and as a result of that, there is a generation that's watching. And I was not going to allow my standard to be lowered to that level where I am on social media bickering and bantering and spewing vile and hate, etc. It's not my modus.
And folks, I'm listening to the gentleman. I do not totally agree with what he said, because the thing is this. We're seeing a similar situation to what happened with Honorable Gregory Bowen, where statements made affects the ability of the individual to find employment. In other words, the way that this government operates is that when they go after you, they go after your very capability and ability to survive. Yeah? You've seen it in the situation with Mr. Gregory Bowen. You've seen them made statements giving the impression that he, while working as a government minister and so, was involved in some sort of corrupt act and took all the documentation in relation to that and went with it to hide the corrupt act. That is the impression that the NDC administration is giving. And even after he assisted them in finding the documentation for months, they said nothing to clear the man's name, and up to now, still refused to clear his name. Up to now, the 22nd day of June, 2025. Election was in 2022. Up to now, they made the Governor General go and talk about some stupid statement, and not she that write it, but she that read it, about the mystery of Grenada's oil and gas nonsense. They can't find documentation. And then you heard it repeated by the Prime Minister of this country. And you all heard right here on Talking Points, Mr. Gregory Bowen clarified that he helped them find the documents, that the Prime Minister himself, not one of his security, not one of his security, like the 2 that they sent at the side of Laco. You see, all the stories that you've been hearing on Simon Says, all the stories you've been hearing floating around in the general public, today all of them were confirmed. That when Jonathan Lacret was put out of the cabinet, that he was escorted by 2 police officers. Imagine that. You are fired as a government minister, and they send 2 law enforcement officers with you. So you're a criminal now. You are criminal or a crook now. So they send 2 officers with you down to your office, and the National Security Advisor comes down to make sure that you get out of the building, because you're parasitic or some kind of thing now. Probably you're infectious. So they need to safeguard the rest of the ministry against you and the rest of the government structure against you. So they do this to you and they get you out of there. And it's obvious that it was a true story, because it's the staff at the ministerial complex was saying what they saw because they were so shocked. Because in all the years of the new National Party, they never see anything like that. Never. A government minister just fired on the spot, no explanation, no nothing, no call in and say, well, listen, I hear this about you, or I see this, or I got this documentation or this evidence or whatever, and we had to fire you. Nothing. You just walk into imagine that you walk into a cabinet meeting with all intents and purposes, and for you to get to the cabinet meeting means that you got your cabinet brief, so you got your documents in relation to what is to be discussed at cabinet that day. So you got your documentation for cabinet. You go to a cabinet meeting, and as soon as you get there, the Prime Minister walk in and just say you're fired, get out. And then as soon as you walk out, there are 2 police officers following you down to your office, like you're under arrest, and then to put you out of the building. Leave the phone, leave this, leave that, and put you out of the building one time. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs when they treat one of their own like that. So if they treat Laco like that, well, where you leave for them, how they go treat Mr. Gregory Bowen? How they go treat you, the average Grenadian? Less than 1% of the Grenadian population ever spend any time in Parliament. Less than 1% have ever been a parliamentarian. Less than 1% of Grenadians have ever been parliamentarians. And to see how they treat one of their own parliamentarians, and to see how they treat the person who used to be praying on stage for them. Me and defending Laco because he was downright disrespectful in St. George Northwest. I'll say it as it is. Yeah, what happened to him was unfortunate. They nearly caused the man, wife and child to die. The woman blood pressure when they nearly caused the man to lose his family. So imagine this. You have your financial obligations. You're trying to figure out how you're seeing about that. And immediately after that, you lose your job. Even while you have your job, you're studying your financial obligations, but you lose your job, you have your financial obligations, and you nearly lose your family too. And all because some people who don't care about nobody but themselves decide that they would treat you in that manner. And then it's to see the comments by all them political ligaroo on behalf of the NDC, them NDC political ligaroo. Under the comment section have all kind of nasty things to say, like if them they sit down in the cabinet, the man is the one who was sitting in cabinet. He said what happened there. He was the one interacting with Deacon Mitchell. Is Deacon Mitchell to come and say what he's saying is not true? He explained what took place with him. And he explained from his perspective how he feels about how he was treated. But what do you expect with a group of individuals who hold power in the state of Grenada at this point in time? What do you expect? Is never see, come see, jump plane and travel. Go here, go there, jump plane, man. Ride plane like Granan's boss. During Christmas. Up and down. That is all they care about. They don't care about people. If they can treat one of their own, a frontliner, like that, imagine how they would treat others. And there are many other things, we won't go over everything tonight, but there are many other things. How he spoke about how he was treated at the cabinet and put out and so on. Again, he protect the others. He didn't say if anybody else say anything. He said what the Prime Minister say. He didn't say what anybody else say inside or how anybody else respond or if anybody stood in his defense. Nothing. And it says something about them that the whole cabinet could sit down there and not one of them stand in the man's defense All you're afraid or only studying all your benefits like that. All of them only studying the benefits that they can get. So nobody, none of your friends stand up in the defense, right? I'm away. Let me take this call. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Good night, Helen.
Good night, my dear.
I cannot hear you good, Claire.
No, we're hearing you. We're hearing you.
I cannot hear you good.
We are hearing you clearly. You go ahead.
Yeah, but I cannot hear you good. And the TV station.
Well, that's your TV. You have to adjust your television then.
Well, I put up the volume and I can hear you.
Nobody else seems to be having that problem, so it's your television. No,
All right.
nobody else is reporting that, so that's your television. Something is up with your TV.
All right, have a good night.
I'm actually spiking here. I'm a little too loud actually on this end. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my dear.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yeah, so I think that's on your TV because not another message has come in saying anything. Let me check this. I've not seen another message saying anything like that. Beverly, Cambridge, Jersey, who's that there? No, you know, all right, okay, right, nice. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So, folks, imagine you treating a person like that. If you treating your own like that, how would you treat others? How would you treat others? And then there's a story of him being offered, and we heard that story, that he was offered the position of ambassador to Canada, and that because he had a young family at the point in time, he did not think it's necessary or wise to take up his family and go to Canada. And then the part of the story that baffles me as a student of politics, and I've been involved in politics for a good while now. I ain't have to go into exactly how much years, but it's over 20. And this is the first time that I've ever heard a prime minister making a shuffle and asking a man to take an ambassadorial position. And when the man does not want to take the ambassadorial position, tell the man, well, choose what ministry you want. That's the first time I ever hear that, because usually when you're making those decisions, what you are doing is that you are trying to align people with their competencies and their capabilities for the best outcome on behalf of the people of the country. Yeah? So you have to understand, you have to understand something is definitely wrong with these group of individuals. Something had to be wrong with them. And somebody's telling me here, what they're saying here, that Laco did say members of the National Executive Council of the NDC was present via Zoom at the cabinet meeting. What is the political arm doing involved in a cabinet meeting? Cabinet meetings are sacrosanct. Cabinet meetings. In fact, listen, I remember when you're going into cabinet, you have to sign a document basically saying that whatever is discussed in cabinet, unless you have the decision for that information, like the New National Party had the post-cabinet press briefing, so you go and you give the outlines of what the major things are, but you don't go and say, well, Minister that did say that, and Minister so didn't agree, and Minister this and Minister that. No. That is for inside cabinet, and it stays there. So there's a level of secrecy in relation to cabinets. And that is important because you have collective responsibility for the decisions that come out. You might even be at a cabinet press briefing. You don't agree with a decision, but collective responsibility. You go there and you say, this is the decision of cabinet and so on, and you explain it and defend it if you have to. And if you feel strongly about a decision the cabinet has taken, I always remember that was said early to us. And no, it wasn't Dr. Mitchell telling us that. You had a training and so on. And it was said, if you don't agree with a decision of the cabinet, what you have to do is resign. Go your way. Because as long as that decision is taken at the cabinet level, you are one of the people that have made that decision. And if you decide, you might disagree, and if you feel strongly about it to the point of when government announces it, you go in and talk against it, you have to resign. You can't stay in the cabinet and be going out there and attacking things with the cabinet. That is how cabinet is. And that's from a regional training. So you can't tell me that you have a cabinet meeting and members of the NDC Executive Council who are not cabinet members were in on the meeting via Zoom. I mean, that was really an execution. That really had to be some sort of execution. Yeah? That can't be no normal thing. Oh boy. Well, I carried all the amount of comments as he coming in there now. Lord. But one of the other things I want to play something else here. Before I say anything else this evening, I want to play something. And folks, we here until about 7:30. If all you want to go until 8, we go in until 8. But we go in at least until, good evening to you, Stephanie, John, and the family. Augustine Bridgman, all of you, yeah. So folks, I want to play something else here. Yeah, let me play that one. I want to play this one because it falls in line with something that's happening now. Remember, Miss Jenny Simon has been speaking. Yes, Jenny Simon, this lady here. Let me show her here. This lady, you see she have a show called Simon Says. Go on Simon Says and you're going to see she talking about, I'm not going to go into details tonight. You want to know what Miss Jenny Simon said about the National Lottery Authority? Go and look for Simon Says and look for the episode National Lotto Authority Scandal. That was broadcast. Let me see. We double checking everything here. That was broadcast on the 60th, nearly a year ago, 16th of June 2024, when she spoke about the corruption that is taking place, not might be taking place, is taking place within the Grenada National Lottery Authority. Right? So go and look for Simon Says. When I finish listening tonight, go and find Simon Says. Listen to this episode there, where Jenny Simon breaking it down what is taking place within the National Lottery Authority. Yeah? And after you do that, yeah, I want you to reflect on what I'm about to play now. Yeah? I want you all to reflect on what I'm about to play now about the National Lottery Authority. And I have a lot to say about this one. So that's why I say I might be going up until I'd originally planned to do it. We're not doing an hour. We're doing over that. Because look, an hour gone already. So we're doing at least another hour and a half. Because we had to go through this, We must go through this.
Now, let us talk about your stewardship in that Ministry of Youth and Sports. Because a lot of administrative issues came up, which we will get into with respect to that ministry. One of the major administrative issues that we pressed the Prime Minister on, of course, we should refuse to give answers to. Actually, you might be able to shed some light on this. Was your concerns with respect to how the board at the Grenada Lotteries Authority was being managed by the board chairman and by other members of the board. Was that an issue coming into that ministry, first and foremost, that you observed as a difficulty that you needed to address as in-line minister? So stop there.
I came into the Ministry of Youth and Sports January of 2024.
Yes.
I immediately got to work, and I must posit at this particular juncture that as a career public servant coming into the politics, I settled down almost immediately into the two ministries that I was privileged to lead as the policy lead at that particular point in time. Of course, you have to get accustomed to the nuances of the ministry or the sector and the do's and don'ts of the sector, etc., the technical operational aspects of the sectors. But from an administrative and managerial perspective, I settled down, and from a leadership perspective, I settled down pretty quickly and pretty well in those two ministries. Let me be honest with you. I believe that myself and the permanent secretary at the time were very late to the Tea Party. Extremely late. I remember meeting one of the workers of the National Lotteries Authority in the supermarket, and they said to me, Minister, you and PS plan to come and have a meeting with us anytime soon? And we said, yes, it's on the list. We're just trying to get our ducks in a row and ensure that we meet with all stakeholders in a very orderly and timely fashion, but National Lottery Authority is on the list. And within weeks,
Same thing, there you go.
and within weeks of that meeting,
Yeah, just one second. How many do we know we are editing it? Good.
and within weeks of that encounter, I met another member of staff who requested that we come and have a meeting with the staff because the staff is under tremendous pressure. They're not being allowed to function in the areas that they have been hired to function in. They are being disrespected. So there were a lot of institutional and organizational issues raised by these two staff members. I did flag them with the permanent secretary because at the end of the day, she is the accounting officer for the sector anyway. Politicians come, politicians go. So as a result of that, I flagged it with the PS and I said to her, let's see how we can rearrange the series of meetings that we have planned so that we can push National Lotteries Authority up the schedule ladder. Yes. And I said to her, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to go for myself. So I'm going to go for myself. To not create the aura of a crash down or a storming. It's just the minister casually going to chat with staff to hear their concerns, etc., and to meet with those who requested the meeting, which I did. And when I met with the members of the finance department of the National Lotteries Authority, they pinpointed to me some discrepancies and some financial improprieties that they feel needed to be addressed, because one staff member said to me, I am not going to jail for this, Minister. I am not. As somebody who has worked in finance for a number of years, this should not be happening, and I am not going to jail for this. And as a result of that, I decided to ask for the financials for a particular period, and in screening through the financials, I found some financial improprieties, and I went straight to the permanent secretary and I said, PS, we need to deal with this in a very systematic and a very diplomatic manner. And we agreed that it must be brought before the body who constituted the board of directors in the first place, which is the Cabinet of Grenada. So that took place on the 31st of May. That was a Friday. And I went to the Cabinet on Monday, June 3rd, with all the information that I had. And I laid it before them as it relates to what are we going to do about this particular situation.
Can you articulate or can you shed some light? I'm not too sure how much you can share. You were just saying here that there were financial improprieties. What were some examples of those financial improprieties that the accounting team, the financial team with the Lotteries Authority shared?
There were large sums of money being paid to a particular organization. And that particular organization was receiving those sums of money for the procurement. To investigate the matter, him and the learned Attorney General, and he insisted. I trusted that the Prime Minister was going to investigate the matter and get back to me with feedback as it relates to their findings. But that did not happen. And weeks passed, And I remember sending 2 very cordial emails to the Prime Minister, just reminding him that we said that we were going to have a sit-down meeting with the Board of Directors of the National Lotteries Authority to ascertain whether or not they are in the know as to what is happening as it relates to my findings. And the questions that I have re the building out of these skills training centers. I am still waiting for a response from these 2 emails. Beryl came first week of July, and that was indeed an opportunity to forget that something was happening at the National Lotteries Authority that needed to be addressed. You understand? And I allowed them the space to be able to take care of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and also to look after our residents in St. Patrick as well as St. Andrew. And around the 3rd week of July, I did motion to the Prime Minister after a cabinet meeting that I would like to just have a brief chat with him, and he obliged. And we spoke, and I said, Prime Minister, is there going to be a time? I know that, we've gone to Carriacou, we've done assessments, etc. And we're now in the recovery and resilience stage in terms of putting preparations in place for recovery and resilience of Carriacou. Is there a time that we are going to be able to address the issue that I raised re the National Lotteries Authority? I do not know if the Honorable Prime Minister felt that I was prying too much, or maybe he felt that this guy is not letting up on this thing. I can't say. Yes, all I know is I walked into the cabinet on the 31st of July, my appointments were revoked, and I was relieved of my duties. I left with my dignity, and I left with my head held high. Kellan.
Sure, nice, yes. Now we have it, good. Yeah, you see, that's why I wanted to make sure that we have it on and operating tonight. Yeah, so you've heard there from Mr. Lacrette in relation to the happenings at Lotto. A staff member meet the man and tell the man, hey, we need to see you. He goes in, and in the finance department, somebody say, Minister, me ain't taking jail for nobody. And in other words, what they see taking place there, they know because they're into this field for a while, whoever they are. And they say, me ain't going to jail for nobody, me, what taking place there wrong. And if I am part of it, even though I'm following orders that I ought not to follow. So I ain't taking jail for nobody. So they tried to get the open corruption that they were seeing in the National Lottery Authority, they were trying to get that sorted out. Up to now, nothing has been done. Last year, June 16th, and I think she spoke about that at a program before, and what is there now as the Lotto scandal thing on Ms. Simon's page is an edited version with just the Lotto itself. So I'll advise all of you to go and watch that video again. As I said, Ms. Jenny Simon was the one that broke the story and was speaking about it. Go and listen to what she has to say in relation to the accusations, because the accusations that were made, that you realize the Bob report was being careful about broadcasting because probably names were called, and once names called, the person might very well know what they're talking about and it will be true, but if you don't have the documentation to be able to protect yourself, you can end up in legal trouble. So probably they were protecting themselves and they edit that part of it. But remember, on multiple occasions, the Prime Minister said nothing take place wrong in Lotto. Now here it is. You have the people in Lottery Authority, in the finance department, saying corruption is taking place. You have the former minister who reviewed the financials of the National Lottery Authority, openly saying no, corruption is taking place. Not was, is taking place with the National Lottery Authority. And on 2 occasions, the Prime Minister of this country said that basically nothing wrong is taking place at the National Lottery Authority. You all forget? The narrative,
What is it?
30th of
Top
October,
killing Kettle Black.
20. The narrative, 30th of October, 2024.
But would things like that worry you in terms of the optics politically? I mean,
No, I think we are transparent.
there are a bunch of people now with too much time on their hands trying to get their job back because of corruption issues.
We're as transparent a government, I think, as we have seen in my lifetime, for sure. And I think if any issues arises and there's credible evidence of stuff, as a Prime Minister, I'm prepared to deal with it. But what
I wonder why he doesn't deal with the Andy Williams issue. Anyhow, let's go ahead.
Did you look into the Lotto matter, though?
Yes, I looked at
Because I looked into it, and there seemed to have been a bit of credibility to some of the issues.
I looked into the issue, and I just said to you, which is why I talked about how you handle conflicts in terms of what the legislation says and what has to happen, right? So I'm saying when people just simply make spurious allegations and come up with all kinds of fanciful stuff, you have to be careful that you don't allow people to draw you in and to make decisions as if you are Jesus Christ and he who is the third sin cast the first stone. I'm saying the very nature of our laws recognize that you have situations where someone who serves on a board may have their firm or their business and so on bidding for work that a particular entity is offering. And there's a process and procedure that has to be followed. So I'm saying if someone makes, and you're saying do I look into the Lotto thing simply because I'm hearing media allegations, if someone makes a credible accusation, we will obviously investigate it and then we make necessary decisions that has to be made. But too often...
I wonder how come he didn't investigate the Andy Williams issue. And then when you say we, the political party or the government of Grenada or an independent commission, because right now he ain't making no sense. And that was, again, this was an interview on the narrative with Ms. Kalisha Faria on the 30th of October 2024, when the Prime Minister basically saying that night and nothing wrong with what's taking place in Lotto today. The accountant saying it's corruption. The former minister saying it's corruption. The Prime Minister apparently doesn't understand what corruption is, but anyway.
The Congress government in the past was allowed itself to be hoodwinked into trying to go after its own and into trying to punish its own and to hold itself to that standard that's almost impossible. When other people are doing all kind of things left, right, and center and getting away with it. So I'm saying...
And I hope you all understand the statement that the Prime Minister made at that point in time. He was basically saying that once you are NDC and you do anything, they ain't going behind you. Because he's saying that the NDC has been hoodwinked in the past in going after their people when there is allegation of wrongdoing. So in other words, before, when people did wrong and the NDC corrected them, because you had situations under the last NDC administration where ministers were fired, where you had the Attorney General who was accused of using the Attorney General's letterhead to write a letter in relation to a personal matter, and he was dismissed for that. That was the accusation. You had the situation with Mr. Kenrick Fullerton, and he was handcuffed and paraded before the people of Grenada. So you had all these situations that took place, and with, as far as we know, there was credible information in relation to these issues, and the then Prime Minister took action in relation to them. And this Prime Minister, who says that he holds Mr. Tillman Thomas in high regard, is basically saying that Uncle Tilly do nonsense. And you have to ask yourself at times like these. Yeah, you don't need to see him right through. Yeah. You have to ask yourself at times like these, where's Mr. Tillman Thomas? Mr. Tillman Thomas, where are you in relation to the statements made today by Jonathan Lacrette? When the name Sheldon Scott came up, you, Tillman Thomas, leave where you're there quite up in Hermitage and find yourself in front of the TV cameras to run me down. Now you have a situation with one Andy Williams in your same party. You have a situation where Mr. Lacrette is saying straight up, corruption is taking place within the NDC administration. And it seems as though you brush your teeth with super glue because right now your mouth can't open. Hypocrite. That is what you is. Damn hypocrite. until you talk on these matters, until you offer some level of clarity as to the historical relevance of persons like yourself on calling on the NDC to be a transparent and honest government and anti-corruption and all this nonsense that you all claim to be. Until you come out on that, no Grenadian should have any level of respect for you in relation to your hypocrisy. Because when it's people like me, poor people, children, you could come out and talk. But you're here in a corruption taking place in your own organization right now that you're still a member of. And you get a case of mutitis, brushing your teeth with super glue. Go ahead.
Necessary decisions that has to be made. But too often, and I think the National Democratic Congress government in the past was allowed itself to be hoodwinked into trying to go after its own and into trying to punish its own and to hold itself to that standard that's almost impossible. When other people are doing all kind of things left, right, and center and getting away with it. So,
and again, this was one of the dumbest political statements made within the last 20 years. If he, as Prime Minister, knows that other people, in other words, you're referring to the New National Party, you're referring to the Gary government, the New Jewel Movement, the TNP, whoever we are referring to. If you know for a fact that corruption took place before, and you are Prime Minister and sitting there and allowing others to get away with the corruption, then it's time for you to pack up and go. No, seriously. It's time for you to pack up. Your usefulness has expired. Your best before date is gone. It's time for you to go. Because you are making a statement as though you know for a fact that people before do all kind of corrupting. Now, if you know that, and you have facts to back it up, and don't come with chicken farm because we go embarrass you. Don't come with shrimp farm, we go embarrass you. Don't come with any of them other nonsense because we going to embarrass you. If you know corruption take place, then come out, deal with it. You have the FIU, you're busy checking people's bank account and all kind of thing to see every 10 cents that go in and every 5 cents that go out. You're all busy doing that. You all have police officers following people all over the place when they should be looking for guns and drugs. Yeah? So if you know that corruption took place before, and you ain't do nothing about it, your best before date has long gone, you're expired.
In a society where nobody's perfect. And we have to be careful that we don't try and hold people in public office to a perfect standard. And then
so we're not supposed to try? So we're supposed to hold people in public office to an imperfect standard. You're supposed to hold people in office to a perfect standard. They may not get there, but you are supposed to hold them to a perfect standard. So if you hold them to 100% and they get to 80, they get to 90, that is one thing. But you can't say that you can't. So you're supposed to hold people and expect people to be crooked. Expect no one there go take people like Andy Williams and put them in the government.
Sounds a lot like you're giving me the answer that the rank and file your supporters are giving. Well, it was happening before and they were saying nothing, so why are they talking now? Because that is what they throw at everybody when you demand accountability.
I'm not saying that. I'm sitting here telling you that we are as transparent a government as there is. And if there's
that's a lie.
Allegations that are credible, that needs to be investigated, and if there are consequences that...
So the concerns that were raised by your former Minister of Sports, you did not find them to be credible?
No, for the most part, they were not credible. And not only that, before you conclude whether they're credible or not, you have to give people the opportunity to be able to answer those things. And in some circumstances, that opportunity never even happened.
Okay. You never, on that situation with your former Minister of Sports, I am still just so baffled about what was it that caused this.
But I did say I was not going to disclose that, and that still remains the case.
Are you sure? I mean, so it's just the two of us here. It's just the two of us here in the cameras. You can tell me.
I'm sure my language remains the same. Let's be real. I mean, anyone who's appointed a minister has to have the confidence of the Prime Minister. And I'm not going to disclose factors that may make me lose confidence in.
Yeah, so confidence could mean that, hey, all are we thieving? And if you ain't thieving or you come and saying that we thieving, then I can't have confidence in you. It could be confidence amongst thieves. All the phone line open, call if you also desire. Yeah? call if you all so desire. Prime Minister, it make no sense in that discourse there, none. Basically saying that NDC people could do corrupt acts, and because they are NDC, they should not be held to any certain standard and so, because there are accusations that thing happened before. How much NNP government ministers went to jail for corruption? During the period of the NDC, during the period of the last NDC administration, yeah, they had the opportunity to put in place the Integrity in Public Life Act. It was passed in 2007 to be enacted in 2008. Elections came, NNP lost. The NDC administration at Tillman Thomas that talk about transparency and good governance they never signed that act into law. It took the NNP to come back in 2013 and put in place the Integrity in Public Life Act, the Anti-Corruption Act, and all those other laws around that to hold the people accountable and to hold them to a particular standard. It wasn't the NDC that did it. It was the same NNP that they always claiming corrupt. The same NNP, and I think we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, hold one moment. Yeah, oh, yeah, that time go. Yeah, 1473-440-7377. In fact, you know what? Before I take another caller, let me play. Okay, let me just take the caller quickly, and then I'll play this one. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Yes, sir.
Hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I say good night, Mr. Kami.
Mm-hmm.
And I say continue to go works, man. So I'm talking every Sunday. I have to every Sunday.
Dine up now. Telling you no dine up, man. Not even up for discussion. It ain't happening.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of it.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. Yeah, I ain't making promises I know I will not keep. I tell you straight up, it ain't going to happen because I actually have something that I'm doing that will involve my Sundays, and in particular around this time. Because I had some time this Sunday and what took place on Friday, it is why I decided that we do the Sunday program. When we have the chance to, we will do it, but I'm not promising that we're going to have that every Sunday. I ain't making that mistake. I will not lie to you. I ain't doing it. Yeah, telling you straight.
Perhaps I know you've said on several occasions, Prime Minister.
Let us go back to an issue of the Bob report. This one on the 3rd of November, yes. No, the 11th. The 3rd of November, yeah. Let me take this call first. Hello.
Hey, good night.
Good night, my brother. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right, my brother. Go ahead.
I'm fuming, I'm hot in the. It hurt me so much to hear this man call himself a prime minister. I'm sorry to say this, but in my opinion, he's the most stupid prime minister ever passed into it and the most crooked. It is clear that Dekan Mitchell is a crook. This man knows what was going on. He knows everything that is going on in Grenada. He turned in a blind eye. And I have a big feeling inside of myself that he taking part in them things. Wherever he collecting money or whatever, I don't know. But this is what my feelings is. There's no way in this world that a leader will just keep turning his back. He say openly just now that Mr. Tillman Thomas was very stupid in a way that to allow
himself. What you're saying, that Tillman Thomas was stupid to do that. Yeah.
It's very stupid to allow himself to, expose ministers who do wrong things. Should let them continue doing it because the NNP and other people report them. So now he's not going to do that. He's going to let his people do what they want, run wild, do all kind of right, do thief, do anything they want. There's no problem. And he would sit by and turn his back. And I am still also saying, I'm going higher to the Governor General who's standing there and watching these things and not doing anything about it. And I personally think that something should be done to arrest these people. Arrest he and the Governor General and shove the bam in jail because they are very wicked. They're watching wrong things taking place in this country and they're just sitting back. Okay,
Sister Jenny was long saying about this corruption and the thing. Oh, he come up and say there's no credible thing to do anything about it. Laku come out today and say this is it. I was always thinking that was the reason why he fired Laku, and that's why he could not tell her why he couldn't. When she asked him what is the reason, he can't say it, because if he had to say it, he had to come out and say it's because he discovered corruption and he didn't want nobody to know that.
And the thing is, up to now, Jonathan Lacrette, I listened to the entire interview, and he has not said why he has been fired. He spoke about the Lotto thing and the timeline, but he did not. He said up to this point in time, he was never spoken to and said specifically, this is the reason that you were fired or you are being fired.
No, he didn't say. He didn't say. No, he didn't. But anybody who have any sense, you could add one and one, and I mean, don't as I know like too. Simple as that. Come on. Something have to be wrong with this prime minister. Something have to be wrong with this man. I don't think he is right. He had to be. This fella was in Germany doing all this wrong thing. He killed himself, or what was the name of Hitler? He's a new Hitler. Something wrong.
He is a puff man. He ain't up to them level. He's a puff.
Yeah, but people who's listening to this thing, we have to understand that something wrong with this man. It's either he's senile or something wrong with him. Maybe he have warm in his brains. Something wrong. We need to do something to get rid of this man. Buy the ball at a finish time. He called the election and we get rid of him once and for all. And that is the reason why Nudin have him walking all about the night. He can't take a plane again. And let him continue walking because nobody wants him again. He's a wicked, biased man. Good night.
All right, my brother. Yes, indeed. Let me put the call on hold for a while. Let me see how to do that again. Nice. Let me put that on a little hold for a little while. And let me play our next one here. Yeah, let me play our next one.
Correct. I know you've said on several occasions, Prime Minister, I saw all of the interviews you did with Callistra and others, as well as the press conference, that you will not speak to the reasons why you have lost confidence in Mr. Lacrette. But the question remains, Prime Minister, is the loss of confidence in Mr. Lacrette related to disagreements over how both of you handled allegations of conflict of interest with members of the lottery and stadium boards? Is there a gag order placed on Mr. Lacrette so that he cannot speak on those issues as well? What is the reality here, Minister? Because both of you gentlemen seem very opaque to really articulate and flesh out why you lost that confidence. I'm trying one last time.
Obviously, I can't have a gag order on anybody. I'm not a judge in a court. And as you've indicated, yes, Mr. Lacrette has resigned as a member of the National Democratic Congress. And so even if you think that it was a gag order, he's no longer a member of the party. And so he's free to speak, and I'm free to speak. And as I said, one of the things we have to appreciate, I think, about political life as well is that too often we frankly say stuff that should simply remain confidential. When I asked any member of the National Democratic Congress to serve in the cabinet, and they agreed graciously to accept that responsibility. It's a heavy responsibility. I completely accept that because I serve in the cabinet. And if we get to a point where, as a prime minister, I lose confidence in them, I honestly don't think it is in their interest or my interest, even if the laundry is dirty, to wash it in public. That's not me. That's not my style. You probably even notice oftentimes I don't even criticize the opposition. And the reason for that is because we need to, I think, stay focused on policy and not personality. And I appreciate it's a little more salivating, it's a little more exciting.
But except in this case, but no, Prime Minister, except in this case with Mr. Lacrette, there is an issue here of policy as well, in respect of the governance of or his functioning as minister in a particular ministry in which he had policy disagreements, or at least the allegation is that he had policy disagreements with you over the functioning of the state statutory board.
No, I'm saying, has he said so? I have not heard him say so. I've heard.
But no, he has. We've heard.
That's what I'm saying. So he has not said so. I have not said so, and I'm saying that people are just simply making those allegations and asking us, me in particular, to be drawn into that. And I've said no. So the point I'm making is, in if I, as I've said clearly, that I was not going to disclose the reasons why I lost confidence, you're asking me specifically if the reason I lost confidence is because there's a difference in our views as to functioning, as to the issue of a conflict of interest over the NLA, and I'm saying to you, no, that's not the reason why I would have lost confidence in him.
Oh, so that was not the reason at all. On Callistra's narrative, Prime Minister, you said that you also looked into those allegations at the NLA and you found nothing. Why don't you allow an independent body to do that work as opposed to you?
No. I'm saying to you, I think the question was whether or not well, let me see how I understood Callistra's question to be whether or not the issues or the allegation raised would warrant me satisfied that there was a conflict of interest that would warrant action. And I'm saying the warranting of action is where I felt it didn't warrant action. Let me put it this way: on any given day, people make comments or raise queries about things from fees people earn, or whether, and I think I was giving a specific request where I said our laws for most of the statutory bodies contemplate that a director or a manager or an employee may find himself in a position where they may have a material interest in a contract that comes before the board or the department or the entity. And the law clearly stipulates what has to happen. And I'm saying it says, for instance, that you have to disclose that you have the interest. You have to disclose and therefore recuse yourself from any potential decision making that may happen. And I was making that point that conflict of interest, because of the size of our country, and even in large countries, of necessity will happen. And in those circumstances, the question of managing the conflict of interest. And I can give you a good example. I'm no longer practicing my law firm, Mitchell & Co., but I'm obviously a co-owner of the firm. From time to time, the firm may represent clients or may have interests, clients who have interest in a matter that treats with the government or may come before cabinet. Once I appreciate or I recognize that it's a matter involving my firm, what I'm required to do is to disclose to my colleagues or to the cabinet secretary that my firm has an interest in this matter, i.e. it is representing someone, and in the circumstances I'd ask to be recused from the cabinet so that someone else would chair the cabinet and they can make their decision. Right? So I'm saying in a sense that's the perfect sort of thing that can happen. Or my firm could just decide that anytime there's somebody who comes to them who involves the government or anything that's potentially litigious or not, it may even just be a contract, that they could not take the matter. And that's a matter for the firm to make. But I'm saying in a small place like Grenada, if most people took that approach, they wouldn't be able to live.
And let me tell you why the Prime Minister is speaking a lot of nonsense there. Is the Prime Minister telling us that the only individuals who can hold the board positions within the National Lottery Authority are the very same people who own businesses that are doing business with the National Lottery Authority? Is the Prime Minister telling us that in our island, because the board had members before, the board of the National Lottery Authority had people who were on the board before that were removed when the NDC came in or resigned, and now you have a new set of people. And even before that set of people, there were people that were there before. And I am pretty sure that there are people that are fully qualified to hold that position. It was the same Prime Minister who sat in a press conference and told us that when it came to the various boards, that they have over 1,000 people, both locally and internationally, who applied to go on the various state boards. Is he telling us that it doesn't matter if you have a conflict of interest? Because, yeah, he made the case in relation to his law firm. In my view, with him as the chief minister in charge of the CBI program, his CBI firm should be struck from the list. In fact, he should strike his own company from the list. You could they could come back on and reapply after you leave office. Very soon you'll be doing that. When you leave office, you could reapply and it will be considered if to bring you back onto the CBI. But for now, as the minister, it is not a proper look. As the person who's signing the documents to give these people the citizenship, as the person who is the boss or the person giving concession to developers that is going to sell these passports and so on. It is not a good look, and in any other country, it would be called corrupt. Any other country. And there are other people who can carry out the role. So why is it do you have to have Why specifically these individuals who are directly in conflict of interest? Why is it that you have to have these individuals? You telling me there's nobody else in the state of Grenada, from Madame Pierre come down to Point Celine, that there is not one other person there or outside of the jurisdiction who might even be willing to come home, carry out another role, and carry that on as a dual role? That there is nobody qualified or competent enough to carry out that role, so that there must be a conflict of interest, and you just turn your face from it? Mr. Prime Minister, who are you trying to embarrass? And there's a larger issue here that we have to look at, you know. Folks, in case you all don't realize, there's a larger issue we have to look at here. The board of directors was put in place after the 2013 election. Probably, I would say by 2014, that board of directors for the National Lottery Authority would be in place. If they were not in place as early as 2013, then by 2014, that board of directors would be in place. The minister at that point in time would have been Ron Redhead, which means the corruption that Minister Lacret come in and find, that corruption was taking place under Ron Redhead. So it's either Ron knew about it and did nothing in relation to it, knew about it, it was found out, and that is why the Prime Minister fired him, or that he was so incompetent that he did not know this was taking place in the National Lottery Authority. That he continued in his arrogant ways. He's a nice guy, you know, me, I didn't come here to do that. And did not speak to the staff at the National Lottery Authority, did not interact with them at any level, or they probably were afraid to interact with him because of his aura of aggressiveness. So probably they didn't interact with him. So while people talking about LACO Discover, people need to remember that Ron was there. So it means that Ron Redhead presided over that corruption that took place in the National Lottery Authority. Well, nobody ain't talking about that. It also means that the present minister is still presiding over that same conflict of interest and corruption. And who's the present minister? I think they say is a number 10. Isn't it? Who's the present Minister of Youth and Sport? Because National Lottery Authority falls under Youth and Sport. I know during the period of time that Honorable Emmeline Pierre was the Minister of Youth and Sport, it was shifted. She didn't want it. It was there for a short while, and then I can't remember if it went under tourism or wherever, but it's back under Youth and Sport. It is one of the statutory bodies. You have the National Stadium, the National Lottery Authority. Those two are under the remit of the Ministry of Youth and Sport, which means that the present Minister of Youth and Sport, which happens to be Delma Thomas, she is presiding over what LACO find inside there, and which still continues to this day and nothing happened. So it is either she ain't care, she know about it, but she definitely must know about it. She definitely must know about it, because by the time all of this was taking place with the cabinet and so on, she was in the loop. And it has been spoken about in the public. And she is the direct line minister responsible for it. No, you ain't getting away. You're responsible too. So Ron was responsible. LACO come in, see what was going on, speak about it, pay the price, and then the thing end up in the hands of who? Delma Thomas now. You see she go into cabinet and saying anything about it? You realize that they even talking about the lotto thing again? So the same corruption that is being alleged right now taking place under the present minister. And the present minister is Delma Thomas. So we need to hear from the present minister if she's aware of the facts that Jonathan Lacret found while he held that position for the how much months, and if she has taken any action to deal with what he has been speaking about. And we need to find out If the former minister, and we ain't talking about Lacrette here, we're talking about Ron Redhead. No, abating all in the same water. Ron Redhead, who was the minister under which that board was created. He was the head honcho. He was the man in charge. So we want to know if under his watch, if under his watch, what LACO found was taking place under Ron, if then Minister Redhead had ever brought what was taking place there to the attention of the cabinet, and if any action was attempted or taken at that point in time. And we could tell you exactly no, because Lacrette would have been the Minister of Health and part of cabinet. So if Ron had brought anything in relation to Lotto to cabinet, it would not have been a surprise to Lacrette when he came. So it's either Ron, it's either you benefit from it or you're incompetent. It ain't no third party there. It's either you was benefiting from it so you turn a blind eye, or you was incompetent. It could be both, or one or the other. But it ain't no third option. Yeah? It ain't no option outside of that. It's one, the other, well, no, three. So a fourth option. It ain't no fourth option. So it's one, the other, or both. It ain't a fourth option there. We need to understand these things. Because while we jump up, yes, look, Lacrette say, it had a minister before him. So the minister was not reviewing briefings, coming back and the financials and so on that was being sent to the board of directors for their monthly meeting. You telling me the minister was not going over the financials, was not paying attention to it, didn't even hand it off to somebody who could have reviewed it and handed it back to him and say, hey, pay attention to this, pay attention to that. You're telling me that Ron Redhead never did that? That all right to Fahy? Was busy doing things that he shouldn't be doing? And Van Man? Yeah, I was busy doing things I shouldn't be doing. That's why they can't hold weekly press conference. Let him hold a weekly press conference this week. Go and ask him. You all heard what Lacrette said. You all heard what Jenny Simon said. And if we have any media in Grenada with gumption, who are not just political sock puppets, to simply put out a story there to save the present administration, they would ask the former minister under whose tenure that corruption took place to say something in relation to it. So Ron, hold a press conference. We have questions for you. Hold a press conference. We have questions for you. We want to know. And don't do like, we ain't come here to talk about that today. We come to talk about that. We want to hear. Let me open the phone lines again. Yeah, phone lines are open, folks. Definitely, no, this thing is very, very serious, folks. This ain't no joke thing. The Prime Minister, in case people forgot, has been saying that no, NDC can't be going after the people. So you're hearing about money missing in Gov office and who get fired. You're hearing some fella get fired from Gov office, and you're hearing on the streets of Gov, you're hearing on the streets of St. George, you're hearing it all on Granans Beach. You're hearing that people get fired from the MP's office in Gov for thieving money. That is what you're hearing. Let me repeat it. If all you want to sue me, take me to court. I'm telling you what I hear on the streets. You can't tell me I don't hear that on the streets. I am hearing that 2 individuals, a thick one and a red one, have been fired from the MP office in Gov, and the accusation is that they stole money. So they get rid of them. You know all kind of thing about NIS and this and that, and who was getting money for this and wasn't there. I hear all kind of thing. That is what I hear, so I buy, so I sell. But again, you hear the Prime Minister? They make mistake going behind their own people before. So no, let the people go ahead, man. If it's your thief of 50,000, there are 30 here, a little 5,000 so thing, they mine. Go ahead, man. 115,000, yeah, man, take it. They ain't mine. They ain't going after their own. Yeah? They ain't going after their own. And don't tell me don't talk about it, they'll come after me. I ain't care. They come. I ain't care. Yeah? Folks, the phone line's open. 1473-440-7377. Yeah, that's what I go do. They go run and ride along to try and say, they go run and ride along and what they're saying there's lie, and this is what happened, and that's what really take place. You go see they run and ride along, wherever it is. You go see they run there because that is their place of comfort. That is their place of safety. Right now, the most corruption you're hearing about is with this NDC administration. You're hearing about people get money to build back better houses. Since last year, and up to now, house don't even start, it don't build. You're hearing those stories out there. You're hearing names calling. You're hearing, even, and I'm not talking here, hearing from NDC, NNP people, no, you're hearing this from NDC people as well. Of an individual that was called and told he didn't apply for a contract to do build back better houses, was told, hey, there's a check waiting for you. He didn't even apply, you know. There's a check waiting for you. Go and collect it. That is for a build back better house. Bring X amount of money and drop it here, and the rest of money you get to keep. You're hearing those stories out there. And then the Prime Minister says what? Don't bother with them. These people, they're just talking. What's the statement again? Let me see if I could find it. What he said? Yeah, it's like, don't bother with them. We have to bother with them. We in power. We in office. So we ain't have to bother with them. Yeah, let me see if I could find the statement here.
To relent. And I think it's important for the citizens to continue supporting the government, continue supporting the MPs, now more than ever. The naysayers, the enemies of progress will come up with all kinds of distractions to make us look away, to pull persons down, personal attacks, allegations of this, allegations of that.
Yes, but when people make allegations, it does not mean that what people are saying is not true. It means that you should, at some level, investigate what is being alleged and not look at the messenger, but look at the message. And as a lawyer, the individual making this statement is very well aware of the fallacy that he's putting forward to the Grenadian people.
To relent. And I think it's important for the citizens to continue supporting the government, continue supporting the MPs, now more than ever. The naysayers, the enemies of progress will come up with all kinds of distractions to make us look away, to pull persons down, personal attacks, allegations of this, allegations of that. But at the end of the day, I think Grenadians can judge for themselves whether people care about them, whether they're hardworking and respectful and humble, and whether they mean the best for them. We may not always get it right, but I think, as I said, we are not afraid of criticism. That's why we subject ourselves to the citizens in the town halls, in the village meetings, in the community meetings, by walking the streets, by going on the block, by doing a program like this. I could be wrong. I don't know that there's any Prime Minister who submits himself to the calls. They may have a radio program where they may oftentimes be given information, but I'm here as much as I can every.
You're there, but you're talking stupidness. That is the problem. You're there, but you're talking stupidness. Saying it as it is. Because I believe some people are being used as political sock puppets. You only know when you take a socks and you make a puppet out of it. So it up there and it talking about you down here. But it up there and it talking on behalf of you. It have a lot of them right now circulating the media space. That is really the NDC talking, but they had them up like a puppet talking on behalf of them. Ain't nobody puppet that's saying it as it is. And I'm backing it up with factual information. If they want to vex, they could vex. Their face is their own. Political sock puppets. A lot of them. And a lot of them too, they on revisionist history. You hear the Americans, especially in the political space now, speaking of revisionist history. So they take things that were good in the past and they made it bad. And things that were bad in the past and they make it good. So that you take a new view, you revise history, and you say that person who all you had down as this great person, that person was really evil. And that person all you had down as evil, that person is really good. And right now in Grenada, you have a lot of these NDC people trying to revise history. So we have some people who are doing Grenadian revisionist history. And that is why I take the time to explain things like the chicken farm, to explain things like the shrimp farm, to explain things like pension. I take the time to, I keep hearing a nonsense. In fact, even in a Calypso last night, I hear some idiot making the statement. Yes, I call him an idiot. They could go and sing about me and care, you know. I didn't hear my name, but I find kind of feeling left out. They could go and sing about you when they no crown. They wouldn't even make the finals, but they could go and sing about me. A lot of them sing about me last year, they don't even make it to the semifinals. And one or two make it to the semifinals, they don't make it to the finals. Because right now, I like a blight. Try me. And plus, after the March Grand, nobody in here in your Calypso has seen you again anyway, so you could go ahead. That does nothing. If they feel that does anything to me, it does nothing to me. Because I don't even listen. When I hear it, it's by chance. But I hear one last night with some stupidness about Prime Minister Mitchell was on a boat in a hurricane. How dunce can you really be? And I heard the Prime Minister throwing that statement too. So all his little minions behind him, brainless, don't have the capacity to think for themselves, repeating a done statement like Dr. Mitchell was on a battleship during Hurricane Ivan. Number one, no military will send a battleship into a hurricane. If they know Hurricane Ivan passing through Grenada, they send their vessel down to Trinidad. They might send it up to St. Kitts, St. Lucia, somewhere up there. They send it as far away as possible, but close enough that they could quickly offer support to the country. So there was a British battleship in Caribbean waters. It was not in Grenadian waters. During the passage of Hurricane Ivan, you're dunce. And secondly, the people of his, no, because this is revisionist history that these people are trying to push there. Because they're trying to give you the impression that Deacon Mitchell was so brave that he stayed there during a hurricane. He wasn't in Carriacou, whether in no storm, you know. He was in Grenada in a secure place. He was in Grenada in a secure place. But revisionist history by some people who have no sense, no intellect, and they can't even Google to find out that, hey, any military captain, lieutenant, whatever, admiral, that take a vessel and put it into hurricane waters would lose his command because he's taken a multi-billion-dollar, multi-million-dollar vessel and put it in harm's way. He would lose his command. The truth of the matter is, Dr. Mitchell left Mount Royal, he went down to, and I'm just saying this, I know he would be upset, you say, Sheldon, why are you even bothering with them and that? Because he can't be bothered with them and the nonsense. But you see, the revisionist history might be on this area and it will come on the next one later down. So you have to explain to the people what took place. He left there. He went to his home in Happy Hill. Other people from the neighborhood went for safety in his home with him there. The people who were in security could tell you that. The people in the neighborhood could tell you that. When Prime Minister Patrick Manning came, he came at the land in Bujeju and walked over to go and meet Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell at his home. The battleship that came after the hurricane, President George Bush was trying to reach Dr. Mitchell, the president at the time of the United States, George Bush Jr., trying to reach Dr. Mitchell, all phone lines down. Obviously, you know, we didn't have mobile, tech wasn't as it is now, but yes, you had a lot of mobile, all of them thing was down. Whether it was Flow, Digicel, everything was down. Some phone lines were working, but then as people were clearing roads, they were cutting the lines, and that was ending the phone calls that some people could get at their houses still. So there you had the President of the United States, you had the British government, you had other regional leaders trying to reach Dr. Mitchell and they can't reach him. They can't get him on mobile phone, they can't get him on direct line. So the British sent for him to come out on the battleship, and it was there that he was able to make contact with the outside world. As a true leader, as a true leader, was able to make contact with the outside world and immediately start organizing for relief for the island of Grenada. And if we don't tell our children that, they would believe the revisionist history that these idiots are putting out there. For the simple fact that a battleship will never come in our country during a hurricane. Simple. That's the first thing that will tell you they're talking nonsense. The second thing that will tell you that is the people who was there with Dr. Mitchell and his family. They will tell you that. But you have people that are trying to revise Grenadian history. They can't revise the fact that they get 15-0 twice, you know. And it's not the New National Party and Dr. Mitchell went out there and just say, well, okay, we take all these seats. The Grenadian people looked at the options and said, this is the best option. And they voted for the New National Party. So if you're vexed with the NNP for winning 15 seats, it is because the people of Grenada decided it was the best team and gave the best team the opportunity to run the country. The same way that you get the opportunity right now, you wouldn't get it again, but that you got the opportunity right now. So you have to ask yourself, what is really going through the minds of these people? And there's a lot more that former Senator Jonathan Lacrette said. And I would advise, I never advising Lacrette, boy. Lacrette advised you, don't waste your time up in Northwest, you know. I could tell you where to go and run, you know. I can tell you where to go and run. Wasting your time in Northwest. Don't worry, I know. We go in the Northwest and do what? You can say, but dream on me. And no, you did do some disrespectful things to Dr. Mitchell when you were the NDC caretaker up there. You were doing things, not inviting him, not telling him anything about it. It's only if he see you, you might mention something about something to him. You all had your committee and all these different things that were taking place. Where was the involvement of the member of parliament who has represented the people since 1984? Where was his involvement? Now you know that he's a good man and you're supposed to involve him and those kind of things. No. I ain't letting you get away with that. Not letting you get away with that. Yeah? You did not respect him as the MP the same way that we see what is happening in St. Andrew Northeast right now. With people who are not even part of cabinet, playing like them as the chief cook and bottle washer. Everything in the constituency is supposed to go to them. Yeah? That is what's taking place in St. Andrew Northeast. You have the same thing taking place in St. Mark. You have the same thing taking place in St. Andrew Southeast. Even in Tonga St. George, you have that same thing taking place. So that the MPs, the people that were voted for, are not the people who have any sort of power, not even discussing something with them. Imagine you go to do the school in Grenville, and you leave instructions to invite, and they didn't invite you. You leave instructions not to invite Emlyn Pierre. You leave instructions not to invite her. That is how disgusting the behavior of these individuals is. I remember several times after Hurricane Ivan and all, you're doing certain things. And if you were in Southeast, I think it was Kenrick Fullerton at the point in time, you would invite him. Sometimes you might even let him say a word or two as the MP for the area. It's not he doing something there, it's you doing it, but you give him the opportunity, say a word or two. But this NDC administration, we foot. Not at all. They're not giving the opportunity to anybody to go and say anything. So folks, here's what I did say I would go up until about 8:30, but I realize the phone lines open and you all can call, because outside of that, tomorrow, 3 years of the National Democratic Congress. 3 years. Yeah, they're making the 3-year mark tomorrow. All now, so we're preparing to go and vote in the morning. Yeah, so 3 years of the National Democratic Congress. If you don't do it tonight, you're going to get the opportunity to do it tomorrow night. I want you all to call and tell us how you rate the National Democratic Congress. Yeah? Take out your pen, whether it's a red pen. You know, some of them teachers used to mark with a red pen. Take out your pen and get ready to mark. Because we want to find out how you rate the performance or lack thereof. Yeah? Wait, somebody tell me the Prime Minister of a cruise now and they give away a set of ticket for it. Well, they had to give away a ticket. Nobody want to go anything. Nobody want to go. And according to somebody now, yeah. Yes, my dear. All of them know, including the sitting minister, knows what's going on in the National Lottery Authority. She bears full responsibility because she cannot claim that she don't know and she don't hear. Yes, you, Delma Thomas, you cannot claim that you don't know and you didn't hear. All that Jonathan Lacrette is saying now, and all that was said before in relation to the National Lottery Authority. So if that corruption continues to take place under you, you are directly responsible. So while the people in the department, they're talking about they ain't taking no jail for nobody, Papa, yo. Yeah? This thing didn't just take place under Lacrette. When you notice what the man said? When he came in, he was told about it. The people who are on the board of directors that have been accused of this thing and in the management of the National Lottery Authority, yeah? That board of directors was put in during the period of Ron Redhead. And that's why I said earlier, it is either he is directly involved, know what was taking place, and did nothing about it, yeah? Or he was so incompetent that he didn't know what was taking place in your own ministry. He wasn't reading the briefs. Nah, he wasn't reading the briefs that was coming because they have to send, when the board of directors is meeting, the documentation that goes to the board of directors ought to, let me just say it was sent, but it ought to be sent to the minister. The minister ought to be aware. Through the permanent secretary, the minister ought to be aware of what is taking place in the board of directors meeting. The minister is supposed to know. Because when the minister goes to cabinet and a question is posed, they're supposed to have seen the board papers so they know that the board made a decision in relation to that. The board is meeting on this, and then at the end of it, the chairperson of that board is supposed to relate to the minister. Minister, we made these decisions at yesterday's board meeting. We're doing A, B, C, D, and then the minutes of those meetings later on are sent to that minister. If that is now taking place right now, well, you better go and find Mr. Devon George in the Grenville Credit Union and ask him to do a training session for all you. Yeah? Ask him to do a training session with the chairman of the board and all them. Go and find Devon and ask him to do it for all you. Yes, the man in Grenville Credit Union. Go and find him. He used to do it before. Training with all the different boards and so on. He know what he's about with that. Right? Go and find Devon. He could at least wisen all you up into the way things supposed to go. So one, you have a board of directors. The board of directors, they are supposed to meet, but the papers that are sent to them, a copy has to be sent to the permanent secretary who will make sure the minister has a copy. So the minister is aware on Wednesday, the board of directors is meeting, this is what they are discussing. After that takes place, the chairman of that board is supposed to call the minister and say, Minister, these are the decisions that were taken at that board meeting in relation to issue A, B, C, D, whatever, and so there are these financial implications, all of that. So that that minister can make a proper response to the cabinet of Grenada in relation to what is taking place. Obviously, that doesn't seem to have been going on with Ron Redhead, but if it was going on with Ron Redhead, well, hey, Papa, yo, it was taking place with Ron Redhead. Then, Mr. Redhead, you know the corruption that was taking place? And if it is taking place now with Ms. Delma Thomas, because she cannot say, as the minister, she's unaware of the financials of the National Lottery Authority. If she says so, she needs to be fired immediately. If number 10 says she don't know anything about that, she don't know what's going on there, she needs to be fired immediately. And if the National Lottery is not under you, well, I apologize. If the National Lottery is not under you and it's under a different ministry. But as far as I know, it's under the Ministry of Youth and Sport. So you, number 10, you're condoning corruption? Are you condoning corruption? Because according to Jonathan Lacrette, you are. Once the National Lottery Authority is under your watch, and the same thing that was happening under Ron and under him is happening under you, you are condoning corruption. Maybe that's why they put you there, you know, so that you could take the fall of it and they go say, see them in NP again. Look at NP coming there and all this thing taking place. Careful, they ain't setting you up to take the fall. And say all them things taking place, they was under your guidance and direction. Careful, you ain't getting set up, girl. Careful, careful. Well, you tell me about the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister and them was advertising online for people who want to come on the cruise, to come and send message to get tickets and so to go on the cruise. You can't. That to give away cruise the tickets for the cruise. $300. What much was the ticket? $300 was the ticket. Budget. All you hear what? I'm going to end here. Yeah, I'll go and take JJ for some ice cream and thing. Yeah, I'm going to end here for tonight. But tomorrow night, I want you all to take the time during tonight, tomorrow during the day, and come up with your grading. You have to call me. You have to call me tomorrow night. I am going to attempt to get the direct line up and running. You have to call me tomorrow night and give me your rating of the National Democratic Congress administration. Give me your rating of them for the 3 years. Tell me what they do good if they do anything good. Tell me what they do bad if they do anything bad. Give me your rating of the National Democratic Congress. Somebody says not 300, it's 350. Partners like a buy a ticket, boy. You ain't go. $350, let me see that cooking gas. You're still getting your meat to cook. You could pass in the market, you get your vegetables and them kind of thing. And yeah, you could get a few things. You ain't go get everything you need, but you'll get something with that $350. You'll take that and go and to go behind the Prime Minister and them. I wonder if it's Lotto paying for the boat. You never know. You never know. Folks, as I said, we are going to end it here for tonight. I want to thank all of you for joining us. And yeah, only give me the feeling to do this, but I can't do this Sunday no. I'm doing a project, and it is taking a lot of my time. A lot of the times I come and I do the program in the night, I'm totally drained because sometimes for the entire day I've been going. And by the time I get in, I don't know if I realize I'm not doing the program and my eyes closed and my force are tired. Yeah? Today is not one of those days though. I kind of had the day off today, so I got today. But next week, I'm not sure what next week holds for me during the day on Sunday. So I don't want to promise we'll do it every Sunday, but when we can, we will. And that's the good thing about having Studio 3. When I can, we will. And you see a boy, I able to fix the mixer for myself? Yeah, man. Your boy, you take out the thing and then man, fix the mixer. Get it to work properly. All right? And the next one is on the way, so I should have the next one anytime from now. Folks, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. And in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. And you know what this today proves? That we need a Sunday program. Today proves that we need back Mr. Andrew Donald. We need back the Sunday program. Today proves that we need a Sunday program. So even if I had to help somebody else set up so that they could do a Sunday program, we need a Sunday program. All right? I know I can't do it all the time. So I'm just saying we need a Sunday program. So I might have to find somebody to do the Sunday program. Folks, I am out. Do enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll be on tomorrow from 8 p.m., God's willing, with more talking points for you.
Real name, Leroy Callis. Put your hands together and welcome the Black Stalinism. But we must keep going. are feeling the pain. Yes, we keep holding strength, but we must keep fighting. Regardless of how it comes, we just can't surrender. We gotta keep working towards a better future. We will never be always down, and we fighting to stay off the ground. You must remember, all day would come. While we appreciate the little life got to give, we must think of it and think more positive. Look on the brighter side, look on the brighter side, because I see a silver lining behind the gray cloud we're passing. Look on the bright side, look on the bright side, for the bright side is there. The journey may be long and you keep falling down, but you must keep standing. As though we commit a crime and we keep stopping time, but we must keep fighting. Remember they say that nothing lasts forever. One day is for the slave, one day for the master. So always keep your courage up. Don't allow confidence to drop. One day we'll be right here on top. While we appreciate the little life got to give,